What is up, El Pearly family? Today I'm making another video for you guys. It's going to be something different than the usual cologne review. Today it's going to be 3 things I wish I knew when I first started buying fragrances, or first started getting into fragrance, rather. So, number one, probably the most important, you're going to love yourself for this later. Your wallet will love you for it later. Do not buy retail prices, is my recommendation. So, obviously, you're probably thinking, like, well, then where do I buy cologne if not at like brick and mortar stores? So obviously, you can still probably should still buy cologne in person just because obviously if you're not buying it in person, you're going to be doing a blind buy. Obviously, a lot of shops you're going to get the ability to smell it in person, which is you can't really put a value on it, obviously. But when I say don't pay retail prices, what I really mean is don't buy it at Sephora or any of those like really larger stores because the markup on that is insane. Basically, so the only what you would pay like 200 for a bottle at Sephora, you could buy for probably like 80, 100 online. Generally, what I stick to is eBay, only sticking to shops that have like a 90, 99, 100% positivity rate, which I have heard a lot of people say that eBay is not good. There's a lot of scams on eBay, which I would recommend you to be careful of as well. Obviously, the larger, the more well known, the more kind of clout a brand has, the more likely there's going to be a scam. Like, for example, you're going to see a lot more fakes of Aventus, Creed, and Dior Sauvage than, whatever niche cologne you're looking for. But I have had good luck sticking to, like I said, I've had good luck sticking to uh, eBay. A lot of those high rating shops have done me pretty well. Alternatively, if you don't want to shell out, if you don't want to do either of those, you could just buy a really cheap dupe of the fragrance from a legit store. That's always an option. I'm not your dad. You don't got to do everything I say. Do half of what I say. I'm crazy. You probably shouldn't listen to me. But yeah, that is number one: is do not pay retail prices if you can. Obviously, support your smaller cologne stores because they usually have a lot better prices. What I've noticed. But moving on to number two is going to be buy different types of cologne, and this is just kind of important because I think it's going to let you like elevate your nose. That sounds kind of stupid. You're going to level up your nose, but it makes sense, okay? Because a lot of people, they really only buy like one type of cologne. Like which is good, because you should stick to what you like, and it is good to kind of see what one genre of cologne has to offer. Like my go-to for this one was going to be like very fresh, like blue scents, like Versace Pour Homme. I'm probably saying that wrong, but Dylan Blue, Versace Dylan Blue as well, like Dolce and Gabbana Light Blue, Aqua di Gio, like Tahitian Waters, like a lot of those very like fresh like blue scents. A lot of people think that's all that cologne and fragrance in general has to offer, but I do think you would be doing yourself and everyone around you a favor if you sort of expanded your tastes out to even more gourmandy colognes, more spicy colognes. I'm just saying there's a lot of cologne out there, and that's one of the things that I think is really interesting in the hobby for me is that like you could be unemployed, you could be doing jack shit all day, and you probably could still be finding like new colognes that are worth wearing and stuff. And a lot of fragrances are just scams, especially like some of the mall fragrances, like the ones that don't really exist, like you can't find them on Fragrantica. I like to call this scam the like really terrible projection, really terrible longevity cologne. I like to call it scam water. That's my favorite thing to call it because it really is a scam. That's why I say you should never pay retail because you don't know. You're really not going to know the longevity and the projection of the cologne until after you've worn it a few times. So why should you pay $100, like $200 for this bottle, and it could be trash? The markup is just insane. Like it's really just not worth that much. Especially a lot of cologne is really just not worth that much, and that's just a simple fact. But Anyway, so yeah, number two was to buy different types of cologne, just because you need to expand your taste to know what's good and what's not. Otherwise, you're going to be a chump and you're going to pay $200 for a bottle of scam water, of flavored water. All right, it's just not going to be good for you. So yeah, I do recommend everyone to sort of expand their taste, and you don't have to be, you know, you have to have $1 billion to do that. You can go to, you know, a store. You can go to any sort of cologne store and just ask for, you know, smaller samples. And that's another thing, is that you can buy smaller samples online and stuff. You don't have to buy full bottles online. A lot of people don't realize that, which, granted, you know, samplers, you're paying a lot more per ounce than you would for the bottle, but you probably have a spare $10 instead of a $200, you know. So you can see if you want to buy the bottle, really. But yeah, I would recommend everyone to sort of buy samplers and stuff as well, not just full bottles. Just because, I mean, dude, Jazz Club is my favorite cologne. I've had a full bottle of it back there for like, I bought that bottle probably like 2 years ago, and that bottle is still got like, it's like a third of the way full, and I was wearing it every day, like absolutely bathing in it like every day for a good like 10, 11 months. So yeah, do not buy a full bottle of something you're not sure if you're going to wear more than like 3 times. Otherwise, yeah, you're just gonna end up throwing it in the garbage, or it's gonna end up going bad. Um, this actually wasn't on my list. This isn't in my script, but I'm gonna mention it anyways. This is 2.5. Is to take good care of your cologne. Generally, if you guys see back there on my dresser, I do have some cologne and stuff on my dresser. You can see my Versace Dreamer bottle back there. I might have to re-record that. I was bumping the mic, but yeah, generally do not leave your colognes out on the dresser and stuff where sunlight can hit them, just because sunlight will actively sort of mess with the formula of your cologne. Uh, just depending on what kind of cologne it is, how long you leave it out is going to depend how much you affect it. And I know some of you might be thinking like, oh no, like I left mine out, like it's probably ruined. I mean, it's not ruined. It just might. I left my Polo Earth out a little bit, and I feel like it doesn't project as much. It's maybe not as loud, but I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know what it does to the formula. I've just been told. I keep them up there. I was going to mention I keep them up there in cardboard, which seems to protect them a lot. Cardboard protects from UV rays. I believe it is the UV rays that is harmful to the cologne. So I would recommend to you guys, don't store them in humid places, and don't store them in places where sunlight or UV ray can get to them very easily. So that is 2.5, is to be nice to your cologne and store it in the correct places. But going a little bit off script here. Number 3, the actual in-script number 3 tip that I wish I knew when I first started buying cologne, was to listen to influencers who have a similar nose to you. So obviously, me, micro-influencer, I shouldn't be telling you to listen to influencers. What I'm trying to say is, you should sort of listen to cologne reviewers with a grain of salt, but you should make sure they have a similar nose to you, right? So, like, obviously you can't smell cologne through the screen. It's sort of like food or food reviewers in that sense, where you have to really trust the personality or the person behind the screen. So what I'm saying is, say you like Versace Eros and fragrances like that, sort of like that old man kind of spicy type fragrance, right? And say you're watching a review on just a completely different fragrance. You should try not to base your opinion of what that person is saying when you don't know if they have the same taste as you. Maybe you should go, before you check out that review of that other fragrance, you should look at their video of a fragrance that you already like, just to see if they have a similar taste to you or not. That way you can sort of kind of figure out who's got similar taste to you, because, you know, you can have somebody who knows a lot about cologne or fragrance, but they just might not have the same taste as you. You know, you just might not like your steak done the same way. You just might not like the same kind of cologne or fragrance in general. So I think that's something that a lot of people miss the nuance of, is they're like, oh, you gave this a whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, every person is different. Every nose is different. And sometimes people's opinions over stuff do change over time, not just necessarily over fragrance. And I wish, you know, a lot of people on the internet either don't realize that or they don't care. But anyways, that's pretty much the El Pearly Yap Fest for today. Also, that last thing applies to me. If you think my opinions are whack, you should and you stop watching. I won't be offended. It's probably for the best. But yeah, it's probably the longest video on the channel so far. So if you did make it this far, I do appreciate it. Thank you a lot. I do look forward to uploading new videos on this platform. You guys are being very nice to me on the Cologne review section of YouTube. But yeah, a little bit of a different format for today. Let me know if you guys liked it, didn't like it, if you want to see more videos like this, what we want to see reviews of next, things and such of the sort. Peace out. Thanks for watching.